Couldn't be happier, man. Thank you, Dean and Jason and Canadian Whitetail Outfitters, for once again putting me on a beautiful, beautiful deer. Look at this flyer over here. Unbelievable.
In the deer woods, you get out what you put in. Whether a weekend warrior or a year-long fanatic, in the end, you'll earn every inch. For us, that's a 365-day-a-year grind, scouting, setting up, making it a lifestyle. There's no words that can describe what deer hunting means to some, but a picture is worth 1,000 words. And now for nearly a decade and over 100 episodes, we've shared what it means to us in film. And more importantly, we've had the opportunity to watch, hunt, and just enjoy some of the biggest and oldest deer that call the Whitetail Woods home. This is Season 8.
Dean Partridge's Canadian Whitetail is proudly brought to you by Ozonics, undetectable, undeniable. Elite Archery, the world's most shootable bow. Stealth Cam, proven reliability, proven quality, proven performance. Excalibur Crossbow, the most trusted crossbows on the planet. Big & J Long Range Attractants, the aroma is super strong, the range is super long. Nocturnal Lighted Nocks, switch on accuracy. The Heater Bodysuit, #1 in cold weather hunting gear. Hoyman, your land, your legacy. Black Eagle Arrows, superior carbon technology. Central Boiler, outdoor wood furnaces, performance and value by design. The Whitetail Institute of North America. Under Armour, go where you don't belong. And by Limb Saver, products that work.
This week we're hunting with Buddy Piland from Ozonics Hunting, and we're heading to our camp in Northern Saskatchewan, Canadian Whitetail Outfitters. Buddy had also hunted with us in November of last year, but his hunt was anything but typical. The temperatures were way above normal. It was +5 when he hunted, and Buddy also tagged out on a 176-inch giant in the first hour of his hunt. This year, however, for Buddy from Texas, things were going to be a little bit more normal for your Canadian North. It was -20, and something told me that he wasn't going to tag out in the first hour again. Parking your vehicle is only one leg of the journey, that is, getting to our camp. And we load up the ATVs for the 8-mile drive into the lodge. Adventure is something often absent from backyard deer hunting, but up here in the forest, a hunt, if nothing else, is the epitome of adventure. Crossing the creek and arriving at the lodge, Buddy takes his Excalibur out for a few last practice shots to prepare for the next morning and the first day of his hunt. Spot on and ready, Buddy heads in for a hot meal, a warm bed, with the anticipation for tomorrow.
This segment has been brought to you by Nocturnal Lighted Nocks, simple, string activated, and now you can get 15% off all items by entering promo code Whitetail15 at Faradyne.com. Nocturnal Lighted Nocks, switch on accuracy and let it glow. Canadian Whitetail has also been brought to you by Slick Trick Broadheads and Dual Game Calls. Glendale, the biggest and toughest 3D targets in the universe. Bog Pod, more than just a shooting rest. Raculator, score your trophy fast, easy, and accurate. And by Scott Archery and Custom Bow Equipment. This segment has been brought to you by Central Boiler Outdoor Wood Furnaces. A central boiler easily connects to your existing forced air, in-floor radiant, baseboard, or dual heat system to heat your entire home in domestic water. Central Boiler, performance and value by design.
After Buddy's rather short success, this year was going to be a little bit different. The temperatures were dipping down to minus 20 Celsius. But either way, we were headed into the blind, hoping to get a chance at a great Canadian whitetail.
All right, man, first morning here in Northern Saskatchewan with Canadian Whitetail Outfitters. I'm fired up, hunting with Dean and Jason again this year. Had a wonderful year last year, but the conditions are super different. Last year it was abnormally warm. In fact, it was raining the first day we came in, and they said it just doesn't do that. But we got 6-7 inches of snow. It was snowing yesterday when we came in, pretty heavy. Temperatures are probably 20 degrees cooler than they were last year, so we're hoping that'll get the bucks and up on their feet moving, and excited to get in there and see what we can do in the Great White North.
In and settled on day one, the deer began passing through, though unlike last year, he may need to wait more than 45 minutes to tag out. The day passes with multiple deer, this overly aggressive 3x3, but no shooter bucks appear. But what a better place could there be than in the northern woods, watching these gorgeous animals? And the no arrows sent day one is certainly a success.
Whitetail Insights, brought to you by the Quality Deer Management Association, ensuring the future of whitetail deer.
EHD is something that we hear more and more of every day in the deer world, and it's actually something that applies north of the border now because it was the first confirmed case of EHD this year in 2017. But I think a lot of people up here don't really understand what EHD really is.
Yeah, you haven't had to deal with it before. And hemorrhagic disease is a pretty new term for a lot of deer hunters, even in the United States. But you guys confirmed it in Ontario this year. It's something that your hunters are going to have to be more aware of going forward, because it certainly won't be the last time that you hear about it.
How does it act when there's an outbreak in certain areas? Like what do people see? What are the signs that you would see that you think that you might have that problem in your area?
Well, it's actually a virus that's carried by midges or no-see-ums. So, these little gnats, essentially. And it tends to be a lot worse in drought years. And the reason for that is those little gnats breed in areas that are like the muddy areas around water holes. So as the water recedes, you end up with all that muddy area around it, which is the perfect breeding ground for them. And coincidentally, you also have deer that are thirsty. They end up at those water holes. So you have the midges there, you have deer all in this small area, so it allows them to bite those deer and actually transfer that disease from deer to deer.
So people that might find in some of these areas where it's starting to creep into Canada or areas in the US that it's prevalent, if you find dead deer around water, that would be a good time to...
That's exactly right, and that's typically when people start seeing them, because deer, as they're hemorrhaging, they have a fever, so they want to get to these water areas. So the first time you start noticing them are often people will find dead deer laying in water. And that almost always is a sign that you have a hemorrhagic disease outbreak.
Now, for the average hunter, is there anything they can do to prevent it or help on the properties that they hunt?
There's really nothing we can do to prevent it. There's not a vaccine for it. Not all deer die from it, though, so that's a good thing. But for the person that sees it, they should absolutely contact the wildlife agency to at least report them and let them know, so that they can then monitor how bad is the outbreak and see where it is and how many deer likely are dying. And for the average hunter, if there's a lot of deer dying, it's a situation where, that fall, maybe you back off on the number of antlerless deer that you're actually shooting, or maybe you don't shoot any that year to allow that deer herd to recover if a bunch of deer have died.
But I think one of the key things you said there is to make sure you report it so people know where it's coming through and where it's moving in an area, right?
That's right, and then you can share that with others so that, you know, more people know about it. And one of the things is that it can be real spotty. Like, you may have a bunch of deer dying right where you are, you know, and 5 miles down the road, they might not have any of it.
What about the next year? So if I have a deer on a property die and it's determined that it died from EHD, is that a problem where that property becomes tainted for several years, or is that an isolated event where next year the chances of a deer dying on that property of EHD are the same as they were before there was already a case?
Yeah, good question. It's not tainted, and actually, if you have an outbreak in an area one year, the next year you're less likely to have an outbreak, because since all deer don't die from it, the deer that survive can actually develop antibodies against it. So the next year, if that hits again, and particularly if it's the same strain, those deer can have a little bit of immunity to it, so you almost never have a bunch of deer dying in the same area 2 years in a row.
This Whitetail Insight is brought to you by the Quality Deer Management Association. Become a member and ensure the future of whitetail deer. This segment has been brought to you by the Heater Bodysuit. The Heater Bodysuit is the ultimate cold weather hunting garment that allows you to stay on stand longer and sit comfortably. The Heater Bodysuit. You stay warm or your money back.
Now day 2, Jason drops Buddy off, freshens up the Big and J, and leaves, hoping for the best for Buddy. Early again on day 2, the deer begin to move. Not long into the day, the deer scatter, and this familiar buck arrives, the 3x3 from the day previous, and again, seeming on a mission to keep all others away. Seemingly having made himself at home, except to run others off, this buck may be presenting a problem here, keeping the other deer away, possibly including a bigger buck, and surely those does that those bigger bucks will be looking for. And as the day wears on, he stays and keeps chasing, making us think that a move may be in order. And over 16 miles away, Jason checks a stealth cam at another stand, and is greeted with a pleasant surprise. A nice long beam flyer buck that we'd recognized from the year previous but had been missing, and given the circumstances, it was decided that for day 3, this is where Buddy would move to. In and settled on a new day in a new stand, it doesn't take Buddy long to spot movement. And today, that first deer is the flyer buck he's there to hunt. Snaking through the tall grass and brush, this buck is definitely on guard and cautious, much more so than the majority of the deer in this area. As time ticks on, Buddy still has no shot as the buck continues to circle downwind, still cautious. Having checked the wind and decided that all is okay, the buck has begun to come into Buddy's shooting lane. Still cautious, but still approaching, Buddy gets ready. And with that final step, Buddy can now shoot.
Welcome to this week's Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment. Locate, learn, set up, hunt. Brought to you by Big & J Long Range Attractants. The aroma is super strong. The range is super long.
The more time and the longer you can stay on stand will increase the odds of you lining up on your target buck, period. In the stormy cold weather of late season is often your best chance at lining up on that target buck. It's when they're hungry and it's when they're making mistakes because of the rut. But you can only capitalize on it if you're there. Staying warm in those sub-zero conditions is key, especially when it comes to that moment of truth. Shooting with big bulky clothes on can be tough, and layers will only do so much. We feel a better option than the high-priced technical layers is a heater bodysuit, one advanced garment that'll keep you warm and it'll keep you mobile, making those late season shots even easier. It is more cost-effective, more comfortable, which will keep you on stand longer, increasing your chance at that target buck. And that's your Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment for the week.
This week's Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment has been brought to you by Big & J Long Range Attractants. This segment has been brought to you by Bog Pod. More than just a shooting rest. Bog Pod. Prepare for the unknown.
I don't know if it was the sun shining off it, but there was just something he didn't like. But he stayed out there and stayed out there. I'm so fired up. We're gonna give him a little bit of time, but he ended up working to the left. Finally, he worked his way completely downwind. Thank God for the Ozonics, man. Because he ended up going straight downwind of us and then working in on the left side. You can see that. And man, it was incredible. Just stuck him. I can't wait to get out there and look at this deer. Just unbelievable. Hey, on a side note, these heater bodysuits saved the day because it's like -5 degrees. There's no way I could have done this without that, man. I'm telling you, these things here are freaking the real deal. He broke off half that arrow. Its blood's frozen already. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at this buck. Just a prototypical Saskatchewan bush buck. I couldn't be happier, man. Thank you, Dean and Jason and Canadian Whitetail Outfitters, for once again putting me on a beautiful, beautiful deer. Look at this flyer over here. Unbelievable. Wow, what a deer.
On there? Right on, man.
Man, thank you. Thank you. Wicked to see you, man.
The beam's long too, eh?
Oh yeah, long beam on the side. Like he's got the flyer. Just so much of that bush buck character.
He really is a gorgeous deer. And when you see him from the side, you can really kind of see. And when you came up here and hunted last year, I think you came up the first time we ever put a camera up here.
I did.
After you tagged out, we had a camera up on the hill there. Jason and I and you came in and put a camera up there. And then him and Josh came back in this year, and there he is. So
yeah, it's pretty amazing to, like you said, I had been to the spot, and I told Josh this morning. I was like, man, I think I've been here. And I remember coming in last year, and he's like, yeah, Jason had been on a really, really nice 8-point last year with super long G2s, and I was like, well, that's pretty cool to come in here and take an animal in the same spot I'd already been to.
It was a beautiful deer. Congratulations again, man.
Thank you so much, Dean. Appreciate it. Unbelievable. Canadian Whitetail Outfitters.
With the weather as cold as it was this year, it was still manageable in our heater bodysuits. And I was actually a bit happy for Buddy that it was cold, so he could experience the temperature and the climate that these incredible animals survive and thrive in all year round in the Canadian North. I can't be more excited for Buddy on taking another fantastic deer. Congratulations, and thanks for watching this week's episode of Canadian Whitetail.
This segment has been brought to you by Wild Edge and the ultimate climbing system, the Step Ladder. Safely design your climb in any tree, anywhere, with the most versatile, lightweight, and compact climbing system, the Step Ladder. Canadian Whitetail has also been brought to you by these fine sponsors. For exclusive content, follow Dean and the team on Facebook, as well as on Instagram and Twitter @WhitetailDean. To view all our past and present episodes, as well as new original content, visit our YouTube, Carbon TV, and Waypoint TV channels. For Canadian Whitetail gear and apparel, visit CanadianWhitetailTV.com.
Audio